Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Arts and Culture Commission meeting of February 19, 2015.
Special meeting.
Roll call, please.
Special meeting.
Special meeting? I thought this is the regular meeting, though. Oh, okay, we have changed that. So, back again, welcome and good afternoon to the Arts and Culture specially scheduled meeting of February 19, 2015. Roll call, please.
Commissioners Deaver?
Here.
Lee?
Here.
Oshagan?
Present.
Sharikian?
Yes.
Chairperson Dervanesian.
Yes.
The agenda for the February 19th special meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall on February 18th, 2015.
Roll call, please.
Item 2, business agenda. At 2A, action item and discussion, motion providing direction on Glendale Arts proposal for signature art event in anticipation of continued review of the 2015-17 work plan.
Any comments or any questions, additions? If not, let's the motion.
Yeah. Good afternoon, commissioners and city staff and members of the public. As mentioned, we're here today to have a summary or a review of Glendale Arts' proposal for a signature art event. We discussed this at the last meeting, and as you know, Glendale Arts was selected as the event manager. They have presented a proposal. Our next step is to take to City Council the recommendation of Glendale Arts for the signature art event so that we can execute a professional service agreement. But today what we're here to do is hear the summary of what Glendale Arts is proposing and give any feedback that you may have to them about their plan. So that with that, I'd like to introduce Elisa Glickman from Glendale Arts.
Good afternoon, Commissioner Dervanesian, commissioners, city staff. I am here today to reintroduce the festival. I know that I stood before you, it feels like several years ago, but I know it was about a year ago, talking about this wonderful event that we've proposed based on your request for proposal. So as some of you may recall, we had essentially suggested or proposed an event within the event. So the day would be filled with family activities, artist booth, concerts that are appropriate for children, families, and their parents, an artist zone, music and entertainment, street art, chalk walks, that sort of thing. And then by night, a lot of those family-friendly festivities would sort of convert into something that we would all potentially enjoy, which is small little beer gardens throughout, serving some of our local breweries, live entertainment, and again, still keeping with the artistic theme of having those artists and artist vendors, but probably some that aren't necessarily doing the arts and crafts things, but a little bit more age appropriate. So it's a really exciting prospect. We've taken a lot of meetings with a lot of potential sponsors and donors talking about this. One of the things that we're proposing is to have this take place in September of 2016 for two reasons. One, we feel we definitely need the lead time since it's our first year to introduce the event and the brand to raise money, because in addition to your commitment, we would probably need an additional $100,000 to $150,000 that would come from both our programming funds as well as foundation grant sponsors and individual donors. And then also on September 4th of 2015, it marks the Alex Theater's 90th anniversary, or 90th birthday, I should say. And we want to use our 90th birthday season as an opportunity to really build, again, the awareness, the brand, use the marketing that we're doing for our 90th season to really encourage people and let people know that this event is happening, and use this event as sort of the end of the year festivity. So all of these things would take place at the Alex Theater throughout the year. We would use that as a marketing stream and tool, and then in September, when our 90th season is over and we're about to embark on the 91st, in the downtown we have this tremendous signature street event. So that's kind of our plan and what we're looking at, and I'm happy to take any questions that you may have regarding the fest.
Thank you. Is there any question or comments? Yes, Commissioner.
Am I the first one always? Did I hear 2015 September 4th is the 90th anniversary?
The Alex Theater, yes.
2016.
15 is the 90th. So we proposed this event in 2016 because our 90th birthday starts in 2015. And again, we want to use that whole year, now that I've ruined your eardrums, we want to use that whole year to promote and raise money and awareness of the event. So our 90th birthday is coming up.
Okay. Second,
Yes, sure.
you talked about, we already talked about a 50,000 or 40,000 that we somehow, we were going to designate that much money in 2014.
Yeah, in the
addition of that.
13-15 budget, we allocated 50,000. But
50,000.
what we proposed at last year's meeting was in the 15-17 budget to increase it to 100,000 in recognition that Glendale Arts, the budget is a little over 200,000.
So total of 100,000, not 100,000 additional.
Well, yeah, it would be 50 and 50 over the 2 years to give planning money and then implementation money.
Okay, at this point, this is the only question.
Last time also there was a little discussion about the content, so that would be, I suppose, since we haven't heard from everyone, they have not sent, you guys have not sent what you envision, because it seems there was some kind of a modification required. So it's going to be on the agenda, and the staff will present it next session, right?
I'm not aware of.
Well, at the last commission meeting, I think there was some question about the theme as presented by Glendale Arts, and so if you have input for Ms. Glickman today, I think that's appropriate to this meeting. But I think when we accepted the Glendale Arts proposal in what year? I guess that was 2014.
Correct.
We accepted it as they proposed, which is why we brought forward the summary. Now, we did talk at the last meeting, since the date was 2016, that when we do discuss the work plan again, that we might discuss an interim program, such as Open Studio Tour. So, I mean, because that was something that everybody was a little concerned about. Why are we waiting so long? But there's obvious reasons why we're waiting so long for this one. It's a huge event, and it takes significant planning. And because we didn't have a professional service agreement in place, we couldn't go ahead with the planning.
Commissioner Davis.
In my recollection, and please help me clarify on it from our last meeting, was that there was, just to update you too, I think the discussion that was here was that there was some interest in whatever comes next, because we had waited for various reasons that we're not privy to necessarily, but it's been a while, and it's going to be a while in the planning. So one is that we wanted things to happen more rapidly. We wanted to see something happen this year, and so the discussion became, well, we've got a new planning, 2-year planning, we've got money coming up, what should we do with that? Can we do something in the interim? We wanted to talk to you, I think, a little bit about, is there a scaling down that could happen, or something that could make it so it could happen faster? And
I mean, as a part of our marketing plan, we already have these pre-existing events that we call pop-ups. And we were looking to increase the number of pop-ups that we do in the downtown for next year. And again, sort of use those as the hook for, if you like what you see now, this wonderful entertainment, you're going to love this signature event that we're going to do in 2016. So as I said, as a part of that marketing strategy, we had hoped to bring some awareness, bring people into the downtown on a much smaller scale, but leveraging events that we have already started to produce and have already started to build a brand of their own. So I don't know specifically if that's what you're looking for. I feel, to be honest, a little uncomfortable about taking the project as a whole and scaling it down, because I feel like if you lose one piece, you kind of lose the whole momentum and enthusiasm for the project. And since you only have sort of one opportunity to be the first time, you want it to be as big as you can afford to make it. And that's, again, why we are proposing in September. Sort of the second part of that is when we originally discussed it with Annette Vartanian and then certainly with Ms. Cleary, when we are involved in the planning stages, because city money is attached, similar to the Alex Theater, there will be a liaison, whether it's your already appointed liaison to the Glendale Arts Board or whether it's somebody else that staff wants to appoint within, or a commissioner. That's kind of up to you. And once we start the planning and evaluation stage, then you'll all be invited into that process through whoever Ms. Cleary and her department designate. So I think that might address some of your concerns about how the money is being spent and what activities are going to take place and what activities are going on. As I said, I'm a little hesitant to scale back the event, and especially in the first year. But in addition to our pop-ups, we're happy to look at, some other public art things, especially as it's focused in the downtown, that we can use to build buzz, build momentum, build enthusiasm and excitement.
One follow-up question. I just wanted to clarify, because I remember, and I could be remembering this wrong, but from the last meeting that when we're looking at the allocation of funding for the Signature Art event in this coming year, we hadn't necessarily allocated it as additional funds to this particular project, but rather that was part of the discussion. So I might be remembering that wrong, so I'm just looking for clarity amongst my peers and from staff.
If I'm understanding the question, are you asking whether we're allocating the 50,000 plus the 100,000?
Correct.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Because we're going to a new work plan and we couldn't achieve through no fault of Glendale Arts, we couldn't achieve the Signature Art event within this current work plan. The 50,000 is gone. I mean, it's not gone. It's still in the fund, but we're starting afresh with how much funding we're going to apply. So at the meeting, we decided on 100,000 as a possibility.
Is that the recollection of I'm just curious, because that's not how I internalized it.
Any comments?
There were, well,
What?
can we talk? I mean,
Sure.
I think there were many comments regarding why it took so long, A, B, how the funding is going to happen. But also, I do remember we talked some. Basically, we probably need to go to our archives and video and watch what exactly was the decision made after that. I wouldn't go by just recollections, I need to.
I mean, today is not our day to talk about the budget, but if we feel at the next meeting when we talk about the overall work plan that we want to invest more money in 15, 17, the 150, we can do that. Or even more, because the cost of the event is over 200,000 as planned, as envisioned right now. So when we sit down with the work plan in March and we decide we want to invest more money in that or more funding in that, we certainly can do that. So whether, whatever, we didn't make any decisions at the last meeting, is my recollection.
But Commissioner Deaver, your question was the additional 50,000 you thought were going to go to events that were specific, not necessarily the signature event, but other events to take place in the downtown?
No, excuse me. No, and we are kind of combining a budget discussion with this, so it is a little convoluted. My recollection had just been that the original allocation was being rolled over in some capacity and would continue, that we hadn't allocated additional funds on top of that to this project. But I thought in their staff report, or as it came out, it sounded to me like we had, and that's what I was trying to clarify. And I just might have just misheard it, but I just was looking for clarification on it.
Let me add.
Sure. Go ahead.
My understanding, I think we did agree on in May, sometime in May or June, sometimes, I'm not sure specific what meeting was there, that we were expecting some type of event this April. And I do remember that 99%.
This coming April. In the original.
Which was 2015.
Correct. In the original proposal that was sent to the city, way back when,
May or June.
we had discussed a spring of 2015 signature event, but as Ms. Cleary stated, through events that were no part of, or no fault of ours or the city's, things just transpired, that event was delayed. And we didn't get notification until like 2 months ago that we could move forward with the project. And given that, and given the research that we've done in sort of the gap between when the commission agreed to move forward with the project. And 2 months ago, we came to the conclusion that we needed a strong 18 to 20 months to do the necessary fundraising, planning, and marketing in order to make it work. So that's when we came back and said, if you want us to do this, we're looking at the fall of 2016, and here's our marketing plan sort of moving forward. So yes, it's disappointing to us all, but you have to kind of move where the money goes, so that's what we're sort of doing at this point.
Commissioner Lee?
My proposal would be if when we're working on the work plan, to put the additional funding in it to probably reach the 100,000 mark first. My suggestion would be one of the pop-ups. Can it be the open studio tour sometime in September?
This coming September? I mean, I certainly think it's something that we can discuss, and it's certainly not off the table. It depends on your desire for how to move your work plan forward, so I can't dictate that to you. We do have some things scheduled in September for ourselves, and again, as long as I think it's localized to the downtown area rather than the entire diaspora of the city, it's something that could be discussed if that's the desire of the commission. But it would certainly have a much more scaled down budget than your open studio tours have had in the past. Again, I don't want to speak to your work plan or your strategic plan, but at this point, pretty much everything's possible as long as we understand September of 2016 is kind of the non-negotiable piece on the table in terms of the large-scale event.
Thank you.
I think he had a follow-up.
Oh, sorry.
Because as part of the additional funding, I would...
Oh, as a part of additional funding. Again, I think that that's part of your commission's discussion, and then we can kind of go from there.
If I can get that passed through, would you be able to put something on? Let's say September,
I'll answer
October.
the question as best I can, which is, it depends on how much money you guys approve, the size and the scope of the project, and whether or not I have the resources to pull that off. But again, I don't want to presume that, actually, I'll let Ms. Cleary answer that.
Yes.
I think I'm talking myself into a rabbit hole now.
We did discuss at the last meeting when we were talking about the overall work plan, we did discuss pop-ups, but that would require that we go through an RFP process to engage an event planner. Now, it could end up that Glendale Arts applies for that, but we can't just say to Glendale Arts, please come and do the pop-ups. We have to go through a process. So if we approve the pop-ups in the next work plan, then we will go through that process, and Glendale Arts will be invited to apply.
Could I ask
A much better answer, thank you.
Could I ask for a clarification? So if we approve next agenda when we talk about the pop-up programs and et cetera, so that would be, the money would be within the 100,000, or that would be a separate budget allocated for that?
Separate budget.
Okay, thank you. I think you had a question.
Yeah, so what kind of pop-ups? So these are the Glendale Arts pop-ups.
Glendale Arts
not
pop-ups.
related to
Correct.
the
We've been
commission
doing
pop-ups.
these for...
What are you going to...
Yeah, we've been doing these for about 2 years throughout the downtown area. We've popped up, for example, at the Glendale Galleria. We did 6 weeks of salsa lessons in front of the old Nordstrom space. We had, over that 6-week period, roughly 500 people show up for salsa lessons. And then at the end of it, we had a live salsa band. And they performed, and people put their lessons to work. We've done things in front of the 101 building on Brand and the 250 building on Brand, and a couple of other spaces downtown as well. So we just say every once in a while we just pop up in the downtown area, and you never know where we're going to be. We've done yoga in the forecourt of the Alex Theater to music. So, we kind of try and do various different types of pop-ups as well. It's not just music or dance or any of that. It's taking a variety of different mediums and trying to meld them together in really interesting spaces. But again, I hesitate to get off topic because I know the lawyers don't like that.
Well, it's part of the build-up to the signature event. And so if I could say something, is there flexibility in the plan to, certainly it's not our place to say what becomes and what is part of the signature event, but it may be that this commission takes a certain direction in the city in terms of the kind of art that we would like to sponsor and promote and show. is there flexibility in the plan such that that kind of thing, since it is a year and a half into the future, maybe that kind of thing?
Well, as I
in the
said,
planning phase,
as I
yeah.
said previously, since you're making a significant investment in this event, you will certainly have a voice in the planning stage. I can't guarantee that it would be the ultimate authority because there will be a planning committee as well, made up of folks that we're bringing into the fold, that we're subcontracting with. For example, we're subcontracting with Arts for the Ashes to coordinate all the artist vendors. We're looking at a group right now that helped do the Abbott Kinney Outdoor Festival, helped raise sponsorships and kind of did space planning and all of those things. I know Economic Development and the Downtown Glendale Association have a stake in an event of this magnitude as well. So we definitely believe that everyone should have a voice in the process, and because we have such an extended lead time, that makes that a little easier. And as I said, you all will have the ability to assign someone to that planning committee, given the investment.
Thank you.
Is it possible to see a temporary budget? Because in order for us to be able
There is a budget, I should say, that was presented during the first RFP, and it hasn't adjusted much. I believe Ms. Cleary has a copy of that.
I can get you a copy of that
Okay.
if there's no
Yeah.
adjustment to it, yeah.
I mean, there will probably be some tweaks along the way, but it's still our very solid working budget.
Okay, because this way at least we'll be able to
Absolutely.
see where the money's going to go.
I think now we are all on the same page, kind of. We have an understanding, and next meeting we'll have more discussion, and it will be on the agenda, so we'll finalize issues. Let's go to, if there are no other questions, could we go to the next item?
Well, I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for all the explanation. Excellent. Okay. I would like to call, I hope I do call the name right, Richard Leboff.
Before we start, is there any direction you want to give us specific to this? Okay, excuse me, sorry.
Good afternoon, commissioners and city staff. As you may recall, I was here a couple of months ago talking about the Glendale Tournament of Roses float. And I'm sure all of you are aware that within the last week or so, the city has bent over, if you will, and decided that they were going to allocate $50,000 if that money can be matched. But before, of course, I go into that, or I'm going to make an association with the current item that you're dealing with, and Ms. Glickman is still here, I'm glad to see. I am certainly supportive of Glendale Arts and their involvement in with this committee and the RFP that was issued, and that you are going to allocate some of your Glendale Urban Art Program Fund, because as you may recall, when I found out that there is at least, and it should be growing with all the downtown development, $2.65 million in the Glendale Urban Art Program Fund, I believe that more can be done with those monies. The item that you have before you, I would, as Ms. Glickman was discussing it, and I didn't really have that much knowledge of it before, about these pop-up events and so forth, but I would propose to you that you might even consider amending the Glendale Arts contract to include some additional money that might be, in fact, utilized for purposes of trying to bridge the gap that I see exists between this committee and arts in general and the Tournament of Roses parade float. I think most of you, when I spoke before you before, probably couldn't necessarily make the connection. And I think that city staff and others seem to have a difficulty making the connection between what this committee does and the float. And even our city manager, Mr. Ochoa, seems to have that difficulty, because I think he, at a recent meeting of that newly formed committee, seems to be under the impression that it's inappropriate or should not be done, that the monies from the Glendale Urban Art Program would be partially, perhaps, used to support the float. Because in my opinion, it's very unlikely that they are going to, in the short time available, come up with the $50,000 match. But this committee does have the authority, perhaps, to exert some pressure. Although I understand, I've been around long enough, 35-year resident of Glendale, and I understand the position that many of you are in and that you're appointed by city council persons. But nevertheless, I think it behooves us to have a float in the 2016 parade. And I think we will not have a float, in my opinion, again, if this group that's forming, and I have gone to one of their meetings, does not raise the $50,000 match. And even at that, a $100,000 float today does not go far. You cannot have a Glenbarian animated type float for $100,000 even. In looking at your goals, and I've looked at your goals, and in fact I shared your goals with Cindy Slaughter and others, you know, it seems to me that it is under your purview to be involved in that float. I recognize, yes, we have limited city staff that can do these things, and you folks are limited, but one of the things that I hope could be done, for example, is that there could be more outreach, and through these pop-up events and so forth there, that could happen, because we should be outreaching to the likes of Disney, well, DreamWorks, of course, we know is going under, but others, Disney Imagineering, I still can't believe that we cannot make some association, and I'd like to know if any of you, in fact, know anybody who is an executive with Disney Imagineering, because they would seem to be the most likely asset we have in this community to assist with a float, and in addition to some funding coming from them. So I see my time is running out, but I'm trying to impress upon you that I think your role needs to expand to include the Glendale Tournament of Roses float. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your ideas and coming back to us. Well, we'll keep this in mind, and we'll put it under our consideration when we are doing our work plan for the future. Thank you. Anything you want to add, Ms. Cleary?
No, I was just going to ask if you would like to provide us any direction related to this agenda item.
We could put this on the agenda for the discussion for the next session. Would that work?
Well, related to the discussion of the signature art event.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
okay.
Just adding it to the agenda.
Absolutely. I
Okay.
thought when we said we were putting on the next agenda. Thank you very much. Thanks for the corrections. I'm learning my ways. It's new to me, so the wording might not come out right, but yes, definitely. Okay. Next. Do we adjourn? Okay. Since I think we have covered whatever we have on the agenda for the short session for the special meeting, there's nothing else to discuss, so I would like to adjourn the meeting. Meeting is adjourned.
No.
Now, getting back, we are getting to our regular meeting. This is a new procedure. Have never done it before. Thank you again. Okay, so good afternoon and welcome back to the regular meeting of the Art and Culture Commission of February 19, 2015. Roll call, please.
Commissioners Deaver,
Here.
Lee,
Here.
Oshagan,
Yes.
Sharikian,
Yes.
Chairperson Derhovanesian.
Yes.
The agenda for the February 19th meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall on February 13th, 2015.
Are there any comments, any corrections?
No, I don't have.
Item 2, consent items. At 2A, approval of special meeting minutes from January 12th, 2015.
Could I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Thank you. And roll call, please.
Commissioners Deaver,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Oshagan,
Yes.
Sharikian.
Yes.
Chairperson Deaver.
Derhovanesian, yes.
Everybody has to get used to it.
Next item.
At 2B, approval of meeting minutes from January 15th, 2015.
Yes.
Chairperson, I have just a quick comment on those minutes on section item 6 of the meeting minutes under commission and staff comments, and to that point, 2 bullets down, I believe that Chairperson Commissioner Deaver was actually Chairperson Derovanasian, just as a minor change to that I would propose.
Okay. Any other? Okay. So.
Motion to move
Yes.
approval of the minutes.
Okay. As amended. Okay.
second.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I'll second.
Thank you. Next item. Roll call, please.
Commissioners Deaver,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Oshigan,
Yes.
Shurikian,
Yes.
Chairperson Derhovanesyan.
Yes.
Item 3, introductions and presentations. At 3A, technology-based public art presented by Arts and Culture Commissioner Ara Oshigan.
Okay, so if I have to, if I have your permission to go over to Yvonne's desk over there to present some of these slides that I have brought together, as
please.
well as some videos.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yes, is that the
Please
way to do it? Yes.
Entertain us with your.
Thank you. So
Mike, the
Mike?
microphone.
Is the mic? Yes.
Yes, it's on.
So I want to thank the Commission for giving this opportunity to present some of this work that we spoke about a little bit, and I think it'd be very interesting for us to see some of this work that's out there in the world in terms of what art and technology, what that cross section or that intersection looks like. And as we spoke last time, I think unless you see it, it's very difficult to sort of visualize. So what I've done is I found a number of things online, and by speaking with some other people, I've been pointed to certain things online that show us this kind of art and what it can be and how it's kind of installed and how it's kind of interactive. So I have a PowerPoint, but I realized that at the last minute that I could show a video here. So I'm going to show a couple of videos of what kind of art is possible, and I think things that we can consider as a commission to support, fund, and install in our city. So here is something, it's called the Blue Hour. I'm going to show short clips. This is an installation of light. And as people walk past these columns, the lights change. Digital-based, it's also interactive. Okay, so that's one. I just want to give you, the idea is just to give a flavor, not to say, oh, this is what we want or whatever, but just to give you a general idea. And there are some images that you can see of the installation and how the lights change, for instance. This is an organization out of Boston, but there are other ones. Here is another one where people interact with this cube. Tap it again. Lights play on the walls, yeah?
And it was called Vaseline Alley because all the drag queens lived down there.
The people out on the street, you know, that you would have Tony the Fence and Fat Tony
so that card is some kind of, I'm not sure where that card is from, but it's all interactive internally and externally, right? And these are some of the pictures. You can imagine some of these around our city. I think it would be very interesting to have some of these sitting around in our city, and they're just there. Here's another one with lights.
What color are you texting?
Texting cyan. Well, I texted turquoise before. Oh, that totally works.
So you text something to some number, and then the lights change, and everybody can text to it. So you're interacting with it.
There we go. Purple. Yay!
Okay, that gives you a flavor for that. So you're just texting into it, and these lights change. So there's also, it's also for kids. So there's this kind of temporary interactive artwork. It's art really, but it's also for kids, and kids can interact with it. And so Pasadena has a problem, just like we don't. Pasadena, so you can have this, and it makes music. This one is very interesting because it's kind of low tech. All you do is you kind of take, this is just a picture, so you set up the space where you take the string, and then you connect the string different places, and over time it creates this tremendous web. And actually lights, they're like different strings of different colors, so it creates this web over time, and so it's interactive. There's one this one, yeah. Here's projections onto a building. To project something, we could make our city hall much more interesting than it is currently in terms of visually, if we wanted to, yeah. And so, yeah, you can see them here, different types of projections. For instance, the art signature event could definitely include something like this. That would be something very interesting, something new and different for our city. So let me go to the PowerPoint. I'm going to jump. Some of these are already. So these are some of the things that we already saw. This is another one. And this, we saw the water, here's the string. And this thing is, this is another one with lights. And this conical things that they've created. I don't know the details on all of these. This is another one that is kind of a playground, but it's also something much more interesting. It's much more geometric and for adults and for kids. It's not only interactive and technology, but also design. It's got this design element to it. This is a very interesting project. This is done up in Berkeley, where they take signals from the Hayward Fault, which is up north of, in Northern California, and every signal that comes from that fault, because it's an active fault, is made into these, what they call blooms, so it's made into these circles of light. And so you are seeing the interaction of what's happening in the ground. Actually, it's coming up in this sort of colorful way. This is an artist by the name of Chris Frazier, where you walk through this tunnel and lights change as you walk. So you're interacting. Everybody walks through, the light changes according to the shadows and the lights. So this may not be like an outdoor thing, but this is just sort of an idea. This is another really interesting project by the Office of Creative Research, where they took words from September 11th, during that day after the attacks were happening, and they're projecting it onto the edges of this building. And so it's a constantly changing exhibit of the words from that day. So you kind of project that event onto this public space, and people have a chance to sort of experience it in a completely different way than when they first experienced it, no doubt. So this is from the Axis festival that happened last year in Pasadena, and I was actually able to go to a couple of these. So this is one of the exhibits where it's called Metamorphosis, where it's supposed to be kind of like this meteor that's landed, and light comes out of it, as well as fog and things. And as you walk past it, things change. The lights will change. So this was set up in Pasadena for like maybe a couple of weeks. And this is also part of that Axis installation in Pasadena, and it's called the Sphere, where it's this light. It's like these air bubbles, as you can see. There's 4 of them, and then you walk in, and your lower picture is what's on the inside, and they project images to the roof of this internal space. So you become completely immersed in that space. I was actually able to go to one of these exhibits there, and where they actually projected images of the universe and of Mars and things like this, and there was a person playing the violin, and so you become completely immersed in this space. Sound, technology, light. I was really amazed. I was like completely amazed. And I mean, I think my ideas of bringing this kind of technology really started probably from this exhibit when I saw it. I was really, really moved by it. This is from an artist, Reyes, and so this is a sort of a cube. As you can see, that you could possibly put it different places. It's just, it's just kind of over. And this is another one by the same artist where you project things going on a big space. Do I have? Am I okay with time? Yeah?
Chuck, how are we with the time?
I don't know, I have 10 minutes. Okay, I don't think there's that much. So this is for Chuck and Cindy here. This is a thing called reading, what is it called? Reading group. And so you set up these chairs outside, and you have your library books and things come out outside. You can check them out, and you sit there and you read books in a reading group, but not interacting with each other in any significant way. Interesting, right? It's really an installation where you are part of the installation itself, and so you interact with it, and you look at library books and you interact with them in a completely different way, in a different setting. Cindy likes that. She's smiling about that one. So this is something very interesting by these 2 artists. I think they're from Holland. What they do is they have these, it's called 10,000 peacock feathers in foaming acid. So they have this sort of, this foam, and they project laser light onto this foam, and it makes these tremendous, interesting shapes, which are constantly changing because the foam and the bubbles are constantly changing. Imagine like bubbles on the surface with some soap bubbles, but these are like bubbles of different type where they shine laser light onto it, and you get these constantly changing shapes, and you can actually interact with it because you can push the bubbles around. This is more like a performance, like you have like an evening performance. Instead of a dance, you can probably like have something like this where people interact with it. This is from the same group, and they do something here, I think, with hydrogen. No, this is silicon bath, and this is actually they have a silicon bath, and they use sound to and laser light and sound at the same time to create these shapes that are constantly changing. I could show this video here, but I don't want to drag it on too long. And then this is one of the things. So Glow Santa Monica, if you guys have heard of it, I don't know, I think Terry has been to it, yeah? So they did tremendous amount of things, and I just got some text from their website here where 200,000 people and 150,000 people showed up to see some of their installations that they did over a short period of time on Santa Monica Beach. So it's obviously the beach, and it's very much oriented towards the beach and more like glowing things, but here is one of the things. Here's an installation that they put on the beach. during Glow Santa Monica. Here it is. It's hard to see, but interact with it. And so they put up these walls there, and they projected images or videos of different things. Like this is like a fishbowl, all right, or images from an aquarium or something, and that's constantly changing. And people are then interacting with it, standing in front of it, doing different things in front of the images, the projected images themselves. So I could really see something like this at a signature event where you have many things going on, but this is one of the things that then people they run into it and they interact with it. This is one of the other things that they did. And this is kind of like the sphere idea where they're projecting pictures in the inside and you can see, but this is different than that. You can see the images from the outside. So you're standing from the outside, you can see people walking around in that space. And then on the inside, there's these people doing whatever, dancing, or then there's music or whatever. So you walk into the sphere and you interact with it, and people outside can see what you're doing. And this is one of the other little things that they've done at the Glow Santa Monica. So this is at the 3rd Street Promenade. This is much more commercial area, obviously, and they hung these changing lights sort of things. And here, I'm almost done here. This is something else, for instance. I'm not sure who the artist is, where these are lights that are placed on the ground and you walk on them and the lights will change. And here you interact also with the lights where you put your hand, you get, in this installation, so you touch it and then there's another wall on the other side and that changes what's being projected behind you. And then these are more simple things where they're just projected to the ground and you can interact with the light while walking through it and looking at your shadow. Or this one on the right here is like, I think virtual mushrooms or something where they project mushrooms on the ground. Almost done? Yes. So, and then here's something that certainly we could do in Glendale here with these lights and technology related. And
Okay, thank you.
and that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner
any
Shagan.
questions?
Great job, very entertaining, very informative.
Okay.
Any questions in that direction? I could make a little suggestion. That's a great thing. Maybe you could present this for the young artists in our community, or for the students at schools, because there's a lot of ideas that it could be shared and borrowed. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay, Chuck, let's have.
Okay. Thank you, Chair Darho Vanessian, commissioners, staff. I have a brief library report. We have some great programs coming up. We will start off actually tonight. Victoria Tennant, the actress, will be at the Brand Library. It'll be, whoops, let's not look at that. Pretend you didn't see that. The Real Art film series will have Ballet Russe, and Victoria's mother was one of those famous ballerinas, and she is going to be present after the film Ballet Russe. She'll talk about her book that is all about her mother. And again, that's tonight at the Brand Library, 7 o'clock. A real nice part of the Real Art film series. Again, the Brand Associates has a film called Advanced Style. It actually originated with a blog by Ari Seth Cohen of the same name, Advanced Style. This documentary film examines the lives of 7 unique New Yorkers whose eclectic personal style and vital spirit have guided their approach to aging. In particular, these are stylish women aged 62 to 95 who are challenging conventional ideas about beauty, aging, and Western culture's increasing obsession with youth. That's March. Again, in March, there's a self-publishing workshop. If you want to put a book together, this guy, Christopher Lynch, knows quite a bit about it. He's been at the library before. He'll come back on March 7th at 2 o'clock. He puts on a very informative workshop on self-publishing a book. He's also involved in a program this coming Saturday with the gentleman who played Eddie Haskell on Leave It to Beaver. That former actor, former LAPD police officer, former military veteran, will be at the library on Saturday the 21st, but he co-wrote that book with Chris. The Fresno State Music Ensemble. They'll be here in March, and I'll talk about that in just a second. I just wanted you to see their picture. Great-looking kids. They're going to do modern Armenian composers. That's their focus. We have a couple of opera talks coming up. The Barber of Seville in a week, February 28th at the Brand Library. Again, that follows with the current LA Opera showing. And then on March 21st, the opera group will come back and talk about the Marriage of Figaro. Something we're very happy with, our One Book, One Glendale 2015 adult book is The Art of Racing in the Rain. It's told from the viewpoint of a dog on the last day of his life. It's by Garth Stein. Garth will visit us on March 31st on our main floor. We're going to clear the decks and we'll have a big event there, but he won't be bringing this dog. This is his dog, Comet. Comet stays at home, I think. Again, there's the book, The Art of Racing in the Rain. Your packets have more information. If you look at GlendalePublicLibrary.org, you will see a variety of events. If you have a pet, if you're interested in search and rescue dogs, therapy dogs, the Pasadena Humane Society, Canine from the police department, they'll all be there during the month at the library. Life 100. This is comes on March 14th through May 1st at the Brand Library and Arts Center. It's an exhibition and programs conceived and curated in coordination with the city, our library department, and the United Armenian Council for Commemoration of the Armenian Genocide /LA. We've got a number of programs up at the Brand Library over the couple of months, including the real art. They're going to screen The Color of Pomegranates. The Fresno State New Music Ensemble will perform there as part of that. And there'll be a symposium organized by Tigrana Zakarian. She's the Carl Wilkins Fellow. So we've got a number of events up there from March to the beginning of May. That's about it for our library events. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the report.
Could I,
Yes,
add something? Yeah, I just want to add a couple of things about the 100 Life exhibit. First of all, I want to say that I'm part of the exhibit, but that's not why I think it's really important exhibit. It bringing together master Armenian artists into the main gallery, Arshil Gorky and Charles Garabedian and some very big names, and as well as a very interesting LA connection among those artists who came and went to LA. And on the outside, there's going to be more local artists who are going to, Armenian artists, contemporary Armenian artists who are going to grow the exhibit. The whole idea of the exhibit that 100 years since the genocide, the Armenians have been able to overcome and stay and remain and create art at all levels, in all kinds of contexts. So I highly recommend everybody to go to that opening. I think it'd be really an amazing exhibit. And we have major art critics and art dealers and art curators involved in the exhibit itself. So,
thank you very much for adding that. It seems that it is the celebration of life after 100 years of whatever Armenian people have gone through in Turkey. Thank you very much. If there's nothing else, let's go to the next item.
Item 4, oral communications.
We have none.
There's none.
We have none? Okay.
Item 5, business agenda. At 5A, action item. At 1, selection of Glendale winner of Bob Hope Airport Tower banner competition.
Commissioner Derhovanesian, commissioners and staff, the Bob Hope Airport Authority in Glendale Unified School District respectfully requests that the commission review and select the best qualified artwork for this year's Tower Banner competition. And we have a guest.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Jacqueline Scott, and I'm here representing the Glendale Unified School District. Thank you, Chairperson Dare Hovhanessian and Commissioners, for allowing me some time with you today and for helping with this ever important decision. We had over approximately, I believe, 129 total entries into the competition from our 4 comprehensive high schools this year. And a district panel of judges whittled that down to only 3. And the next, do you want me to go through the slides? So just a little history about the contest. It started in 2007, so this is the 8th year that the district is participating, and it's called the Tri-Cities competition, so it includes Pasadena, Burbank, and Glendale students. And to date, the Burbank Airport Authority has awarded $19,500 to each school district. So we're very honored that we get to participate annually. And your important decision will determine the level of funding for each piece of artwork. This was the 2013 winner. And this was a picture of it. This is what it will look like on the facade of the building. So the artwork that you select will be blown up. I believe it's 27 feet long and maybe 20 feet wide. And this is last year's winner. If you recall, it was Flying with Liberty. What a beautiful photograph with a plane also flying in the background. So nice to see that. This is in the terminal hallway where each piece of artwork is honored. This year the theme is Great Moments in Flight. And there are 3 pieces of artwork. And these are just some photographs, but I have brought them. So artwork A is just a digital version of an artist's composition. I know that Commissioner Sharikian had mentioned that, is this like a copy of it? No, this is the actual artist's rendering. Artwork B is, looks like it's a painting, and the student didn't disclose what the medium was that was used. And the last one is also another digital entry. It's got lots of pixelations, but it's showing that important moment when the space shuttle arrived to the Los Angeles area. So I believe in your packet you have a scoring rubric, and this is the scoring rubric that the district panel used, as well as you. And then based on your votes of which placement, first, second, and third, I will report that back to the Burbank Airport Authority. And then on March 2nd, which is in just a couple weeks at 9 o'clock in the morning, the students, their teacher, their admin, and hopefully their families go, and the Airport Authority honors them, and the district will then receive a check from them. It's pretty special. Are there any clarifying questions?
Thanks again for having this wonderful contest. Every year we are looking forward to have that.
Thank you.
There are different ways we can do that. We can go step by step through the rubrics and see what you're marking, or we could have a general idea of which one our commissioners think should be number 1, number 2, or number 3. If we have time, we can go through the whole process. If we are limited with our time, we could go with the final decision of the commissioners on which one should be number 1, which one number 2.
You could do your rubric. I could tally the votes while we continue with the meeting.
So could you please write down whatever the answers are, because we are going to go through each one of them. Let's go for the picture number.
Or did you want to use the individual sheets for?
Because
we can do that.
And then give
we can do the individual sheets, and you could give us the answer. Okay, that would be fine. Okay. Give us some few minutes, so.
ask a clarification? So I just wanted to, so I understand the process. Are we going to read down and everybody's going to, artwork A, and we'll give our final score on each of those? Or are we giving that as my number 1, it's my number 2, or it's my number 3?
Based on the rubric, give me 1, 2, and 3. Give me, and I'll collect your answers.
The final one.
And give
The
you
final one that we have already put here on the numbers.
your final 1,
Okay, so
2, and
our
3.
number 1 is A, and number 2 is B, that's how we,
That's
okay,
it.
good. Okay. Do we need more time?
I'm good.
I've done my homework.
Okay.
I'm close, go ahead, we can do it. I'm fast.
Okay, we'll wait for you if you say.
Do we write our names on the sheet or we don't?
No. No need to.
May I ask a question to her if you don't mind?
Sure, go ahead.
So you said we had 129 participants.
That is correct.
And who narrowed it down to 3?
Absolutely. We had a district panel of senior administrators, so assistant superintendents, principals. I myself was not a judge because I know where all of the artwork came from, but it's just kind of an open gallery walk, and then that group of judges uses the same rubric that you use, and they were determined based on the point value. And so the top pieces for total point value from all of the judges were these 3.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
Hands down.
Okay, let's
Okay,
start.
just to clarify, I've got your picture of the 3 pieces of artwork, artwork A, B, and C.
Yes.
So if you just want to tell me where you ranked artwork A, artwork B, and artwork C, 1, 2, or 3.
Let's start with Commissioner Lee.
Okay, artwork A, 40, artwork B, 36, artwork C, 35.
Commissioner Deaver?
And I did mine by 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Does it? I could do it either way. I'm not.
It's okay, 1, 2, 3 could do
Okay.
it, because eventually we get there.
All right, so artwork A, number 3, artwork B, number 1, artwork C, number 2.
Commissioner Shurikan?
Artwork A, 33. Artwork B, 29. Artwork C, 37.
Commissioner Oshaka?
So artwork A, number 2, artwork B, number 3, and artwork C, number 1.
And for myself, artwork B is number 1, artwork A is number 2, and artwork C is number 3.
Okay, at this point, it actually might help to get your total numbers, like, 40, 33. So if I could have whoever's ready, of the 3 commissioners, just your numbers, your actual count.
Oh,
I'll
The actual
go.
count.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Artwork A, 33, artwork B, 35, artwork C, 34.
mine is almost the same.
I did give my numbers. Oh, you want 1 to 3?
I didn't give you mine. Yeah, so A is 33, B is 31, and C is 36.
Almost copy. Almost.
Yeah, you were done before me. That means I copied you. Is that what?
No. Yeah, well, 33, 29, 37.
That's funny. Do we discuss it or just numbers and that's
Just
it?
numbers.
No discussion?
We can discuss it, we normally do.
What, excuse me?
I said, we normally discuss it, we can talk about it. I said, I picked A because it seems to do different events, greatest moments. And B and C they're good. One is beginning and one's like the end.
Yeah, I thought they were all very interesting, actually. The A, because of the composition and the multiple time frames, like you said, and B, I mean, it's unusual to have an image of the backs of people, but I think it's really interesting that way. But I really thought C is like, this is our time. This is like the big, for me, big aerial event in my life is this thing. You know, besides that, it's like sitting in a small airplane seat and not having enough leg room. So this thing for me was really important. So I thought C was the best.
All right, well, tallying the actual scores, very close, but artwork number C was the winner.
What is second?
Oh, second would be artwork A, and artwork B would be third.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much for your time. So I will share this with the Burbank Airport Authority, and on Monday, March 2nd, our students will be awarded accordingly. Thank you very much for giving us time today.
Good job.
Thank you very much, Glendale Unified School District. We'd like to partner in this project. It's a great project. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one comment. Yeah, I just want to congratulate all the participants certainly for doing that, and certainly for the winners. It was a hard decision. The scoring matrix kind of decides for you to some extent, but they were all worthy of recognition, and we hope that those artists continue in their path in creativity.
Thank you. I will relay that to all of the students. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
Okay, next item.
Item 5B, informational item at 1, update on gala art and vacant storefronts.
Chairperson Derhove-Nessian, I'd like to ask that we defer this item. We had wanted the event manager to be with us to share the update, and they were unavailable. So if we could defer this to the next meeting, I think that would.
Thank you. So this is deferred for the next agenda item for March. And next item?
Item 5B2, update on You Are Here, temporary arts in public spaces.
And the same situation with this one. The event manager is not here, and they have indicated that they can be with us at the next meeting. So if we could defer this one as well.
I would like to ask the staff to bring it back again for next agenda item. Next item.
Item 6, commission staff comments.
Any comments you would like to share?
Gong hei fa choi. Happy Lunar New Year. Today is actually the Lunar New Year day.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Today is actually today. New Year's Eve was last night. In Chinatown, they had fireworks. I feel bad for the neighbors, but they had fireworks at midnight. So, and it's a good celebration. So wish everybody a good and prosperous New Year.
And what year is it?
Year of the Sheep.
Sheep, okay.
So Happy New Year to all
Here?
the Chinese population.
Downtown Chinese New Year's Parade is on Saturday, yes?
Yes, in Chinatown.
Great thing to take
Lunar
your
New Year
kids to.
Parade.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Any other special sharing?
No?
I want to mention, because I'm liaison to Museum of Neon Art, and so I just want to give an update. I get updates from them and go to their meetings. They're looking at some construction being complete, hopefully in March, and taking possession of the space in April or May. But I also want to remind people on their behalf that they are still in a fundraising phase. And so we're all really excited about them coming and about the progress that's being made, but encouraging people to go to their website at mona-g2g.com and learn more about the museum and to get people involved and to participate in that fundraising so they can meet their goals.
We need to support them. It's a great idea. Any other?
Just
yes?
question and clarification. So we are discussing our 2015-17 plan next month?
Yeah, we'll continue the discussion
And
next
this will be also the signature?
Yes.
Yeah, event, okay.
Question, do I need to request an agenda item for next meeting to discuss this presentation that I made today in terms of artwork and the direction, or no?
Well, I think we'll probably incorporate it into the discussion of the work plan because it is apropos to the pop-up, it is apropos to the temporary art, so there are many components in the work plan that apply to it. So I would think it would come up in that discussion. You all agree?
Okay.
Should I request that to be on the thing, or it's already taken care of? To be on?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Should I request that to be part of our discussion, or it's already taken care of?
I think it'll be incorporated into the discussion
thank you very
on the
much.
work plan.
And I would like to share about yesterday's major event in the city of Glendale, which there was the Glendale Art Colony, which is a dream come true. And I would like Mr. Mike to talk about it a little bit because he has all the details of the information and he has some pictures to share. Just it's a great collaboration between the city, community, and YMCA. It's a great idea for all the artists in the community, and it is going to promote art and support art in every possible way. I'm so proud of our staff, city government that we do have, and different organizations that in collaboration they provide and support our artists in such a manner. So, Mr. Mike, would you please give us some update on that?
Thank you, Chair Derhovanesian, commissioners, and city staff. There was a groundbreaking yesterday that a number of us attended, and Chair Derhovanesian spoke very eloquently about the arts and that particular project. It's the Glendale Arts Colony. There's an artist rendering. It's tailored for families of working artists, and it's built in tandem with the YMCA of Glendale. We're talking about 2.2 acres of land, 70 units of affordable housing. It's located at 121 North Kenwood, and preference will be given to working artists and families who earn 60% or less of the median area income. It's developed by Meta Housing Corporation with art programs run by a nonprofit called Engage. It'll feature homes for artists, artist studios, and a ground floor public gallery for artists' work and art classes for the public. It's scheduled to actually open in 2016 in the fall. And it will certainly add life to the Arts District with the Alex Theater at the top and the Glendale Central Library at the lower end of that, Maryland. I've got a couple of pictures from the groundbreaking.
Oh, Arlette, you're there.
Arlette, where's your hat? Where's your
I know
hat?
where's your hat, Arlette.
I think this item is better placed on next month's agenda as a report.
That's
Okay, so we could do that. Thank you very much.
Mr.
Looks
White.
nice.
Very welcome.
I think there is no any written communication, so let's adjourn the meeting.
Chuck, are you going to take those?